Did you know there's a Pokemon that can learn 22 moves in one level? I bet you don't know all these Pokemon facts. Let's take a look. Yo, whoa, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. I'm bringing you guys some obscure and insane Pokemon facts today, and I promise you don't know every single one of these. I was actually blown away creating this video, so I hope you guys enjoy. Be sure to hit that like button down below, and of course subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we're closing in on 1 million subscribers, and I'd appreciate it if you guys got in before 1 million. Let me know if any of these facts or kind of little tidbits of information are surprising to you in the comment section below, and let's dive in. Big shout outs to MX Tony, by the way, for compiling a lot of this information on Reddit. So as I was saying in the intro, if you take a Cottony and you evolve it at level 1 without having any of Whimsicott's level up moves, it attempts to learn 22 different moves at one time. I'm not kidding. Moves from Tailwind to Moonblast, Memento, Leech Seed, Sunny Day, Cotton Guard, Solar Beam, Helping Hand, and many, many more. 22 total moves in one level for Whimsicott. That would take a really long time to either accept or deny. In Generation 5, there was a really cool mechanic called the Dream World, where you could send your Pokemon to the Dream World and ultimately find hidden ability Pokemon and play some mini games on the computer. It was something that I actually used when I was younger, but there's a particular Pokemon that can never go to the Dream World, and that is Vigoroth, because its only ability, Vital Spirit, actually stops it from entering the Dream World because it seemingly can't fall asleep. Every other Pokemon that has Vital Spirit has another ability, so they could go under that condition, but in the case of Vigoroth, he's never going to the Dream World. This one's pretty wild, and it's something that I actually took advantage of when I was younger playing competitive Pokemon. Shedinja, its moveset in Generation 3 and Generation 4 are actually bugged because it's supposed to evolve and know Nincada's moveset when it evolves, and ultimately creates the Shedinja clone of the Ninjask. But in Generation 3 and 4, it actually learns Ninjask's moves and transfer whatever moves Ninjask has to the Shedinja. So as a result of that, you're able to get Swords Dance Shedinja, which is a staple in competitive for Shedinja. That's like one of its main moves, but it's something that was corrected in Generation 5 and beyond, so you actually can't obtain a new Shedinja with the move Swords Dance. You'd have to actually go back and transfer it up from Generation 3 or Generation 4 when this bug existed, which again is a huge, massive piece of Shedinja's competitive moveset. It'll often run like Swords Dance Shadow Claw. Of course, sometimes it runs like Protect Toxic or Will-O-Wisp, but Swords Dance is a pretty important move on this Pokemon, and you actually can't even get it anymore. Did you know that you can actually talk to these little turnstile things next to the Pokemon Center and other buildings and get on your bike? I didn't until like a few months ago. In Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, there are 5 trainers that you can fight at the Battle Resort, and they use Ground, Bug, Poison, and Grass-type Pokemon. Those just happen to be the 5 types that are actually exempt from the gym leaders, the Elite Four members, and the champion in Hoenn, which I thought was really cool, and it got me thinking about how Galar actually was supposed to introduce these major and minor gym leaders, which was kind of teased on with Clara and the other guy Avery, and you know, they never really did too much with the lore of that, but there was supposed to be major and minor gym leaders in the Galar League, and I thought that'd be really cool to kind of reintroduce in future Pokemon games to kind of give a little bit of personality to maybe the gym leaders that are trying to become gym leaders or ultimately qualify. I thought that was one of the coolest like Pokemon lore things, and it just kind of got pushed aside. I think we all remember playing through Viridian Forest, the iconic first forest that we get with Pokemon like Caterpie and Weedle. And did you know that in Generation 6, they copied the exact same layout of Viridian Forest for Santaloon Forest? And it just so happens that all the Pokemon obtainable in Viridian Forest in Red and Blue, Fire Red, Leaf Green are also obtainable in Santaloon Forest with additions like Vivian, Pansy or Pansage, and a few other Pokemon. Pretty cool stuff. One of the most famous Pokemon meme quotes is the 7.8 out of 10 Too Much Water, which was used by IGN to describe Hoenn when it was re-released as Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Well, it just so happens, I actually didn't realize this, Hoenn has 34 different routes, 17 of which of them are actually water routes. So there are legitimately half of the routes in the game are actually water routes, and I can totally understand now why IGN put the quote, "Too much water." It all makes sense. Did you know there's a weird occurrence where Hau, your rival and kind of friend in the Sun and Moon region, actually can attack you and your Pokemon in a double battle? There's a specific instance where you team up with Hau in the Ether Foundation, and he'll actually attack you because of a bug in the coding regarding Primarina's Hydro Vortex, which is based on Sparkling Aria, which targets both opponents and teammate. So while using it as a Z move, Hao has a random chance to choose you as his target and ultimately attack you as your partner against the other foundation. He actually goes rogue and actually he teams up with Lusamine and everything and just starts attacking you with his Primarina. It's pretty cool. This is something I actually didn't know, and I would love to see them reintroduce this in Pokemon Crystal. If you walk with your Pokemon in its met location, the place where you caught it or hatched it or whatever it may be, its happiness increases faster than walking in other met locations. So I thought that was actually really cool, like the idea that if you catch a Zubat in Mount Moon, you'll increase its happiness faster by traveling in Mount Moon, because that's what was familiar to that Pokemon. That's where it was born, essentially, or that's where you found it. I feel like that'd be really cool to see them reintroduce in future Pokemon games. It seems like they ditched this. One of my favorite abilities in all of Pokemon is actually Water Bubble, which is the signature ability of the spider Pokemon Araquanid. Now, for those who don't know, Water Bubble is a very complex ability that does a handful of different things, but the text in the game actually doesn't describe it that way. Water Bubble's in-game text says it lowers the power of fire-type moves done to the Pokemon and prevents them from getting a burn. So in this case, Araquanid essentially takes half damage from fire-type moves, removing the potential weakness that Bug would have, so it ends up becoming a resistance because of the water typing. And it makes it so Araquanid can never be burned by moves like Will-O-Wisp. But what it doesn't tell you is the most important factor of this ability, in the sense that it actually doubles the power of water type moves prior to its same type attack bonus, essentially multiplying it by 100%, making Araquanid one of the strongest water type Pokemon of the game, despite a very low base stat attack or special attack stat, because its water moves get such an incredible buff, doing double damage prior to stab. This thing is a monster. And again, this huge piece of the puzzle about what Water Bubble actually does is not even included in the text in the game. I found this one funny. I've been pretty open about the fact that I'm not the biggest Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl fan in hindsight, and it just so happens that the abilities Sticky Hold and Suction Cup, which are two different abilities utilized to help you fish and increase the chances of fishing Pokemon in the game, which was really useful in Gen 6 for like shiny hunting, less useful nowadays. It just so happens that that effect ability is actually bugged in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, and it's bugged in BDSP as well. They legit copied the same game coding over and just updated the graphics. It's so wild. I thought this was really cool. In Sword and Shield, the gym leader's numbers aren't random, but they're based on a system in Japanese called Goroways. I may be pronouncing that wrong. I actually tried to find out how to pronounce it and I couldn't find it on Google. Anyway, each of the gym leader's numbers, Milo, Nessa, Kabu, etc., means something. So in the case of Milo, 831 means vegetable, Nessa's number 049 means swim, and you can go on and see other ones like Melanie's number 361 means cold, and so on and so forth. And it just so happens that these various numbers actually align very nicely with this kind of Japanese kind of moniker system. I guess this is ultimately a type of Japanese wordplay that they integrated into the numbers. And it's crazy to think that the Pokemon Slowbro and ultimately Slowking were banned from competitive Smogon due to something called Endless Battle Clause. It just so happens that these two Pokemon, as well as Smeargle and Blissey, I believe, can create an endless battle scenario where they have the Lepa Berry to essentially restore the PP of their moves, Heal Pulse, Slack Off, Recycle, and Block. They can ultimately make it so they can heal themselves, heal the opponent's Pokemon, block them from switching out, and continuously restoring the berry. So in the case of them not having a status move or a move that can essentially knock them out, you can block your opponents in and ultimately make the battle never end, because you can continuously restore not only your PP, your health, but the other Pokemon's health as well. And again, this became something that was not allowed in competitive Smogon, and obviously in competitive VGC and stuff, there's timer limits and stuff, so I guess you could try to make it work. But Taunt is something that could usually stop this, but it just so happens that Slowbro and Slowking have the Oblivious ability, which makes it so they can't be taunted. So just some crazy stuff overall. I hope you enjoyed about hearing these various random Pokemon, obscure Pokemon facts. I find this stuff interesting, and I think it's actually really fun to talk about. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and like and subscribe if you guys are new. That's gonna be it for me, guys. My name is Dan. I also go by aDrive, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. If you enjoyed these insane facts, you should check out this video right here. It's another good video about facts. And otherwise, you can check out this video. It's pretty sweet. Thanks so much for watching.